gamers can be a discerning bunch, and when it comes to gaming laptops, we don't think there's a model out there that can please everyone. But we know that some companies are trying and even making strides. Lenovo is a perfect example with its new LOQ 15i RX9 gaming laptop. Powered by Intel's unlocked 13th Gen processors and NVIDIA's RTX 3050 or 4050 graphics on the local market, this machine offers impressive power, which can be customized if necessary without breaking the bank. The cheapest kit starts with a Core i5 CPU and an RTX 3050 GPU, but the top-of-the-line configuration we tested pairs a Core i7 processor with RTX 4050 graphics. Plus, it looks great and comes with decent cooling, which we think justifies its beefy size and weight. So did Lenovo successfully pull off a balancing act between price and performance without sacrificing what makes a gaming laptop great? Let's find out. First off, let's talk about the internals because our unit in particular is a beast. It comes equipped with a 13th generation Intel Core i7-13650HX processor. If you're not familiar with Intel chips, the HX basically means it's a desktop-class processor packed into a laptop. And the best part, it's unlocked so you can tweak it to your liking, like overclocking or underclocking using an app like Intel's Extreme Tuning utility to squeeze out even more performance or extend your mileage when you're on the go. The CPU has 14 cores, of which 6 are performance cores and 8 are efficiency cores. It has 20 threads and a maximum boost frequency of 4.9 GHz. That's a lot of power for a relatively portable machine. We tested it with Cinebench and Geekbench and it crushed these benchmarks. This thing absolutely dominates in multitasking and multi-threaded performance. Now, to get an idea about what the gaming experience might look like, we installed 3D Mark on our unit and ran Steel Nomad and TimeSpy, where the results were quite impressive. Prior to testing, we enabled CPU and GPU overclocking in the BIOS and within the pre-installed Lenovo Vantage application. This app makes the process of tweaking your laptop settings easy and totally user-friendly, even letting you mess around with the RGB lighting to give it that full-on gamer vibe. You can also enable hybrid mode in the app to allow your laptop to seamlessly switch to the integrated graphics, prioritizing battery life. This balanced approach delivers optimal performance when required and extended battery endurance when necessary. While the system did warn of increased fan noise when both the CPU and GPU are overclocked, we found the noise levels to be comparable to other gaming laptops in this category, and that's a good sign. We recommend maintaining the default settings as Lenovo's engineers have thoughtfully designed the cooling system for optimal performance. Why fix something that isn't broken, right? Speaking of using the Lenovo Vantage app to your advantage, we think that Lenovo's AI Engine Plus, powered by the LA chip, does its job in keeping the laptop running in peak condition. This AI chip uses software machine learning to monitor your gaming performance via Lenovo Advantage and adjust the settings for the best possible experience. It helps manage power, performance, and keeps the laptop cool, and we do think it makes a difference in real-world tasks. It's like having a personal assistant for your laptop in your laptop. Now let's put this gaming laptop to the test. We tried a mix of games from Counter-Strike 2 to AAA titles like Forza Motorsport and Diablo IV. The Lenovo LOQ 15i RX9 handled them all with relative ease at 1080p, the display's native resolution. First up, we have Respawn Entertainment's Star Wars Jedi Survivor, a visually demanding sequel that builds upon the foundations of its predecessor, Jedi Fallen Order. Set 5 years after the events of the first game, Cal Kestis returns as a seasoned Jedi Knight, navigating a galaxy still reeling from the Empire's fall. As expected, the game runs at a solid pace with the graphics presets set to epic. the highest setting available, and NVIDIA DLSS and frame rate generation both enabled. However, we had to disable ray tracing due to performance issues in certain areas, particularly in densely populated environments and locations with tricky atmosphere lighting. We averaged around 70 FPS in the game's cutscenes, which showcase the game's stunning visuals and cinematic storytelling. When the control is given back to the player, the frame rate typically climbs into the high 80s, allowing for smooth and responsive gameplay. While the game's performance was generally impressive, the occasional frame rate drops, especially when ray tracing was enabled, highlight the demanding nature of Survivor's graphics as well as the current state of the game, which remains poorly optimized more than a year after its release.
Is it safe up here? You can anticipate a direct enemy contact.
Moving on to another title published by EA, we fired up EA Sports FC24 on the Lenovo LOQ 15i RX9. Powered by the Frostbite engine, FC24 marks a significant departure from the FIFA series and boasts impressive graphics, animations, and player AI. It also introduces EA's latest hypermotion technology. The latter uses volumetric data to create more realistic player movements and bring a more authentic and unpredictable gameplay experience. All this to say that FC24, despite being a sports sim, won't be a cakewalk even for a gaming PC with a Core i7 CPU and an RTX 40 GPU inside, right? Well, not really. Our system handled it with ease, delivering a consistent frame rate of over 100 FPS with everything cranked up. In other words, it plays like a dream. As for the actual gameplay, well, let's just say our skills are a bit rusty. But the game's photorealistic graphics and challenging AI made it a lot of fun, even if we were getting our virtual bots kicked.
Half-time is looming. What do you make of them being behind, Sue?
Yeah, a little bit off the pace for me. Seem to be losing those midfield battles.
It's been a while since we've jumped back into Forza Motorsport, but we were eager to revisit its impressive roster of super realistic cars racing on real-world circuits that have been recreated with remarkable accuracy. It's always fun going back and playing the game in cockpit view, which remains a highlight for us as it literally puts you behind the steering wheel of cars you could only dream of driving. Of course, Forza Motorsport remains a demanding racing sim even on a powerful PC. We average around 75 FPS in normal races with the render quality set to medium and the lighting settings including ray tracing set to auto. While this is a respectable frame rate, and you can certainly gain more by taking the time to adjust the settings, it truly underscores the game's demanding nature. Next up, we have Counter-Strike 2, a game we haven't touched yet. But you probably already know that just by looking at the default skins we're using for all our weapons. Anyway, in case you're not familiar, CS2 is still in development, but it's the direct successor to the iconic Counter-Strike Global Offensive. The game now runs on the Source 2 engine, resulting in dramatically improved visuals that complement the enhanced sound design and new game mechanics. This game looks surprisingly good for a competitive shooter with enhanced lighting, textures, and particle effects, so unlike Global Offensive, running it at over 300 FPS isn't really feasible for most systems. The good news is that you can hit over 140 FPS on the Lenovo LOQ 15i RX9, but you'll need to compromise on certain visual settings and add a few lines to the launch options for competitive play. If you intend to tear through Diablo IV and its upcoming expansion, we have good news. We ran the game with maxed out graphics and medium ray tracing, and it looked and played amazingly, at least for the most part. If your character has decent gear and you want to form Tier 8 of the Infernal Horde's endgame activity, you may need to lower the graphics settings substantially to avoid crashes or freezes when your screen is overwhelmed with enemies. Overall, we are impressed with the performance of this laptop across a wide range of games we tested, which is no surprise considering its powerful specs. However, in our gaming tests, we also noticed one of the compromises made by Lenovo in order to keep the price as low and as competitive as possible. Compromises that you either live with or you opt for something else at a higher price. The IPS display of this laptop can be considered a trade-off to keep the price down. The screen is okay indoors, but outdoors it's a bit of a struggle. The low brightness and anti-glare coating make it hard to see in bright sunlight, though we do appreciate the matte treatment over the panel because it hides fingerprints well. At best, it's a decent middle ground for a gaming laptop with an RTX 4050 GPU. The 144Hz refresh rate is a big plus, and it makes up for some of the shortcomings of the panel. If you're not super picky about the picture quality and want a good overall gaming experience, this display is definitely acceptable. The keyboard is nice for a gaming rig, and we actually wrote the script for this video on this laptop. It's that convenient to type on. It offers a satisfying clicky feel, and the keys feel solid as well. We're glad to see a full numpad here. We like that Lenovo included a generous touchpad too, even if it can be a bit noisy when pressed. The speakers on this laptop are decent, but they're not going to blow you away. We've heard better sound quality on some other gaming laptops around this price. Not a deal breaker, but it's something to keep in mind. The build quality is pretty solid for an affordable gaming machine. It feels sturdy and well made, even though the bottom part might flex a little if you press hard. The hinges are also strong enough to allow you to open the lid with just one hand. The Lenovo LOQ 15i RX9 offers a generous selection of ports, and we love that the main I/O panel is conveniently located at the back for easy cable management. This is especially beneficial for gamers who frequently use their laptop at a desk, as well as heavy users like us who need to plug in frequently. Keyboards include a proprietary charging port and an HDMI 2.1 port for connecting an external monitor. During our tests, the top-of-the-line model lasted about 2.5 hours on a single charge under moderate usage conditions, including web browsing, document editing, and video streaming. Streaming a 1080p video on YouTube at half brightness drained the battery from 80% to 34%. That said, if you plan to take the Lenovo LOQ 15i RX9 outside, even for a short trip, be sure to bring this 170-watt power brick in your bag. This charger supports fast charging and can fully choose up the battery in about an hour, or get you to 80% in just 30 minutes. So, did Lenovo nail it with the LOQ 15i RX9? Yes, it's pretty much a fantastic pick, especially if you play at home mostly. It's a powerful gaming laptop that won't break the bank with this $54,995 starting price.